Alright guys, there's more information about Resident Evil 9 Requiem, and you know I'm going to ramble on about this for about an hour because we got two videos here. The first one being the Gamescom gameplay trailer. This is just on the IGN channel, if you wish to watch it yourself without me pausing over and over again. And then we got the Resident Evil 9, for the listeners, full demo from RE Biohazard. Don't think this is an official channel, spoiler alert. This is the main one I could find that was uninterrupted. A lot of them like splice things together, change the order. One I saw which was like 20 minutes long, didn't even finish the trailer. So finding this raw footage was actually kind of difficult. Like this has only got 6.6k views, and some other ones I was looking at had like 900k and were just cut up and spliced. So appreciate this person just uploaded the full demo. But we're gonna look at the gameplay trailer first, and yeah, just go from there. Hopefully this is the highest quality I can get it. Yeah, I do not have premium. Hopefully it's not too loud. We will be pausing quite a lot, so but enough starting rambling. Let's get into the real rambling. So obviously we're starting here what I presume to be the hotel that they mentioned in the initial reveal trailer, where Alyssa will probably die. I'm assuming this will be the starting sort of gameplay where you play as Grace, but you're working through the hotel. Probably not really doing much. Probably one is just walk through segments where things happen. I will say though, there is a instant crime here. She's wearing shoes on the bed. She's clearly a villain. You cannot tell me otherwise. That is unforgivable. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the goddamn King of England. You're wearing shoes on the bed. You're a villain to me. Okay. Yeah, she comes, the Alyssa, looking way better than she looked in Outbreak. There's any subtitles in this? Auto-generated. Ooh, that's cringe. Oh well. Okay, we'll just turn those off.
You have been on that thing all day.
Well, if you're gonna work so late.
What I have to assume here is that obviously we know she works for the FBI. I have to assume she's already working for the FBI, or she's doing some form of research here. Like, maybe she joins the FBI to try and work out what happens to her mother here, like get down to the bottom of it. Because obviously, assuming that I'm correct with this, is where Alyssa dies in this hotel. She would obviously be, you know, there with the events, but trying to get to the actual, you know, what actually happened, because, you know, that sort of thing.
I'm almost done, just a sec.
I do have to question what she's doing.
It's really coming down hard.
Mom, phone. Mom.
It's right beside you.
Not too much to say right now, obviously, but then, obviously, phone call.
Miss Ashcroft?
Yes.
They just confirm it's her, so basically they know she's there. She just wants to, well, they assume that she's there. They want to confirm that she's there. Gets the confirmation, hangs up, and they're going to cut the power in a second,
Who was it?
as we see.
Dunno. They asked for Miss Ashcroft and then they hung up on me.
Rude.
There we go.
What the?
So,
They're coming.
the presumption here is that Alyssa is looking into something. The idea, of course, being something... They talked about the going back to Raccoon City, getting down to the truth of Raccoon City, something like that. I can't remember the exact wording they used, but clearly the implication was that there was much more behind Raccoon City than initially revealed in, you know, 2, 3, and subsequent games like that. Like how in Village, we kind of found out that, you know, Spencer, who we thought created the sort of viruses, while he did, he got a lot of that from Miranda, you know, Mother Miranda from Village. She kind of had a lot to do with Spencer and, you know, prior to the foundation of the Umbrella corporation. So we have to kind of assume that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. I don't know what they could do, but I mean, it just depends on what they reveal, right? But clearly Alyssa here is looking into something. It might not even be to do with Raccoon City, obviously, but she's looking into something probably to do with, I don't know, some secret organization working in the shadows, similar to Umbrella, you know, just using the pharmaceuticals sort of a front to their biological weapons division, right? It's a minute in and already paused like 50 times.
Grace, we need to go.
We need to go.
Where?
Anywhere.
Mom, what's going on?
Hurry.
Wait, who's coming? What's wrong?
We need to keep our voices down.
This is ridiculous.
Come on.
I feel like you shouldn't be questioning your mother. Also, take the laptop with you. It feels very...
Tell me what's going on.
I feel like if I was in a situation, I'd have the laptop on me, especially if I was doing research and stuff. But then again, we don't know what she was doing on that laptop. I'm making way too many assumptions here. I find it interesting to go down this hallway, but you saw if you go back like a second. Hold on. There's clearly an exit sign. Is it trying to say it's above this door? It's very unclear, but like that looks like an emergency exit sign if you're just come out your room. I just feel like they should go for that door, especially as it's got, I don't know. What's in the bag? I like how she doesn't even question that she just pulled out a gun.
Mom, wait.
Grace, keep moving.
So this is obviously the cut to the cut to black there kind of suggests to me that they kind of cut a small gameplay segment there to just kind of keep things short. But maybe not. Who knows? It kind of lines up. Sorry, pretty correctly.
Grace.
Actually, no. You do actually see the there's like a cabinet over here kind of disappear. So there's definitely a segment there cut out. Probably not to spoil too much or just to kind of cut to the important stuff, because I imagine like a lot of that section is just tension building, walking through the hotel, trying to get to the front desk, that sort of thing, right? So yeah, but like I said, I think this is going to be the start of the game, that sort of thing. You know, get tutorials on how to control the character, because they might use this as a I don't know if they want to, because obviously this is to celebrate the 30 years, or you know, the idea is 30 years of Resident Evil. This is kind of, you know, for the old fans, especially bringing back characters such as, you know, Alyssa from Outbreak, which most most casual fans of the franchise haven't played. So it's kind of hard to say where they see this, you know. I feel like a lot of people got into the franchise from the remakes anyway, so I think they'll be fine, you know, jumping into this. But whether they want new players to play this and not be confused, we'll have to see, you know. I don't think Alyssa, I don't know if they're going to explain Alyssa's backstory in this game, but like I said, a lot of assumptions. Let's not jump too far into it.
Oh,
Hello.
who's that? Oh, I'm so sorry about the power outage.
What happened?
It's really no excuse, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
The obvious assumption here is this is clearly Wesker in disguise, right? No, just some boring guy, not much to say about him, unfortunately.
I just need to find my...
There we go. So we get another shot at look at this guy. This guy obviously appeared in the initial trailer as well. Obviously, a lot of assumption, a lot of guesswork is going into who the hell is this person. Big possibility, just a new person, you know. You know, they've obviously introduced Grace into this one, which is a new character. There's no signs from what I've seen of some old characters coming back, other than obviously Alyssa. But if we have to make speculation, the obvious one that everybody's thinking is Wesker survived. I don't think this looks at all like Wesker. This is probably the clearest look we've got of his face. I don't think it looks like Wesker. Some people also said Ethan, but like, why would Ethan be doing this? You know, like Ethan, this isn't Ethan. If it was somebody who took over Ethan's body, maybe. But I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to say that. It feels like they're kind of trying to move away from the mold and go back to the virus roots. Like obviously 7 and 8 focused on the, I'm going to mispronounce it, Megamycete, mycete, something like that, which is basically just living mold. You know, you got the heart that basically controlled the mold, that sort of thing, gave, you know, the village, you know, Dmitri, Heisenberg, those people their powers, that sort of thing. It seems like they want to go back towards the more literal biohazard route of the originals, so you know, the T virus, G virus, that sort of thing. So I don't know if that'd be the case. This person is obviously infected with something but are on control of it, so maybe they're the master behind it. It could be a similar case to how Wesker was, where he injected himself with Ouroboros. This person could be the same, where they injected themselves with something new to give themselves, you know, strength or something like that. There doesn't seem to be any sort of supernatural power here, but their skin is very sickly, very pale. It looks like there's blood. Oh, didn't mean to press that. Blood coming down their eyes by the looks of it. I think that's blood, or at least dried blood. And yeah, so it's hard to say who this person is. I think my bet right now is on a new person, but that doesn't mean they aren't working for a character we've known in the past. Like I said, a lot of speculation saying it's Wesker. I don't think this looks like Wesker at all. But then again, dying of a volcano would, scar you, would change your appearance. So could still be Wesker. You never know. I'm trying to get a closer look. You know what? That one does kind of look more closer to Wesker now I think about it, but I'm not sure. See, I think there's another cut there as well. Oh, obviously it's another cut there. Sorry, I don't know why I said think. There's obviously another cut there. Maybe there's some form of reveal there, or they just start running again. There's a lot missing here. They definitely don't want to show us too much, and this is kind of what I wanted from Resident Evil Requiem trailers. Like, show us gameplay, show us new stuff about new characters, but any returning characters, I feel like if you're going to bring back many returning characters, show off one of them and then leave the rest for surprise. Personally, if you're going to bring back Leon, you show off Leon and be like, hey guys, Leon's in this game. And then, if you have Jill, Claire, whoever else come back, you leave that surprise. I will say though, if they do bring back Leon, they have to bring back Ada. If they don't bring back Ada, what's the point? I need them doing the will they, won't they nonsense. That's if you don't believe they haven't already, if you know what I mean. But yeah, like, there's a lot of speculation about returning characters, and as a 30th year celebration, going back to that, it wouldn't be surprising if they did bring back old characters. I know there was a lot of lines in here, talk about we have to get out of here. People thought that was Jill in the original reveal trailer, obviously showing off to be Alyssa. But yeah, this isn't taking part in the Raccoon City part of the game, because we obviously know there's going to be a part where you go back to Raccoon City. This isn't in that part. I don't think any of the old characters would be here. I think if they're going to be in any segment of the game, they'll be in the return to Raccoon City part, right?
Grace, look at me. Grab my hands. Okay,
She might be having a panic attack.
in.
I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? That does remind me, I do see a lot of people complaining about the reaction of this character. They've never been in a situation like this, and they talked about this as well, where like making Leon the main character of a new Resident Evil doesn't really work unless you're going for the more action focused ones. Clearly in this one, and we'll see in the gameplay demo in a little bit, they're clearly going for the horror vibes. Like, they want you to be scared, and if you're in the control of Leon, you either have him not reacting to it, which makes you less scared, or him being overly scared, which doesn't make sense lore-wise, because dude has literally been through like 60 bloody traumatic events. He's kind of numb to it at this point, so you can't really have him. But, like we said about returning characters, they can fill a similar role to Chris did in Village, where they kind of play that supporting role, show up a few times, push the narrative along further, but don't really... they're not the main character. They might have like a segment at the end. I wouldn't be surprised if they do this, do it here as well. Do like a segment where you play as like an older character, sort of as a, I want to call it nostalgic bait, but that's a sort of like a, just allow you to play as one of the older characters again, because outside of a few questionable multiplayer games, Reverse, we haven't really stepped into the control of these older characters outside of remakes, and some people would, not say that's new. But I digress. I digress. That's just me going on a tangent. Sorry.
Oh, Grace. I promise you, I will explain this all to you one of these days.
And she will die before she explains any of these. Absolutely, she is not getting explained. She is dying before that happens. To be fair, it would make sense for Alyssa to, look into the Raccoon City. I assume she was there.
You are my hope. Never forget that.
What are you talking about?
Just... I love you.
I mean, death flags all around. We know she dies, but I mean... If anybody said that...
No. We need
If anybody said that to me in real life, I'd be like, oh shit, you're fucking dying, aren't you?
to find a way out of here now.
We don't have any of our stuff.
We can come back for it later, Grace.
And there you go. Obviously, we don't get to see who the hell does that. We only even get to see it for like a frame. Hold on, let me slow this down and mute it and see if we can see anything about that. I'm gonna mute it because the sound goes a bit weird. Come on, come on, come on. Because to me, it kind of looks like a very long knife. Oh, is that just a shadow of some? Jesus Christ, you get it's literally there for like half a second. I don't even know what it is. That's like a bloody. Come on. Let me pause fast enough. It just looks like somebody holding a knife as a shadow. So I don't think if when we play this game, I don't think we'll get to see who the bloody hell that is. It's very hard to tell. But yeah, this is obviously how she dies. Probably the person from earlier, I would have to say. I don't know what the fuck that was. I have to say it's probably the same person from earlier that we saw. The real question is what the hell she's researching. Like I said, probably something to do with Raccoon City, but there might be something else. You know, some sort of new bio hazard that's gone out into the world, or maybe there was something that happened a few years ago. We believe this takes place in 2026. If I remember correctly from the trailer, this takes place she dies 8 years or 9 years prior, so we have to assume this either takes place in 2017, which is the same year Ethan goes off to, where is it, Louisiana? I've forgotten where he goes off to. I haven't played Resident Evil 7 in a while. We'll get back around to that at one point. Or if it is 9 years ago, it would take place in 2016, which would be a year before. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that happens around that time, but I don't think there is. But that's assuming she's researching something current. You know, she could go back to plenty of things, but you know, chances are it's Raccoon City. And then we got the gameplay trailer. I don't want to ramble too long because I do ramble a lot, but the gameplay trailer is just doing the RE Biohazard thing here. But this should have a lot more information on it and a lot more things I want to talk about. Because I did say at the time when I watched the Gamescom opening thing, I'm glad they still have the RE engine opening thing. This is the menu they've got so far. I imagine there'll be a background picture here, an actual background picture here when the game comes out. I imagine this is just mostly placeholder. You know, what was I saying? When the original reveal trailer come out? No, when it was Gamescom. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I did say it didn't show off too much, just kind of gives hints. This shows us a lot more. The real question is of where this takes place, which we'll see in a second if you haven't seen it. Here's the perspective change. The default is first person, like I thought it would be. That seems to be how they are going forward with the franchise. I think this is better, especially if they want to keep with the horror roots. Obviously, Village kind of was more actiony horror than the horror of Resident Evil 7, but they seem to be going back to that, you know, Resident Evil 7 feel, which is good because I did kind of worry that they were repeating the pattern of RE1, 2, 3, 4, where RE1 and 2 were like really scary. RE3, bit more actiony, but still very scary. RE4, leaning even more into that action, not so many scares, and then RE5 would be you know, almost full-on action. And then obviously, as we know with Resident Evil 6, if you're a fan of the franchise, full action, zero horror, basically. Outside of a few moments, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that was kind of my worry, but it seems like they're, you know, sticking to the horror roots. Some will be a bit more actiony than others, but, you know, not going into that full action, which kind of, you know, messed with the series in the 2010s, which is good, or early 2010s, because, you know, 2017, RE7 came out. You can switch the perspective. There we go. There's the controls if you're interested. There's an aim bottle button, and then you throw to the other side, which is interesting. I want to know how this is going to work on the thing. I'm guessing aim bottle will eventually get replaced with aim gun and then shoot gun sort of thing. I want to restore health. Item screen on triangle on top. If you play this on controller, that's why I prefer it. Especially in the older Resident Evil games, you got a lighter, and then you got a quick turn as well. You know, love to see a quick turn on these games. You can crouch as well. A lot of these buttons are kind of unused, but I imagine it doesn't remain that way in the full game, because obviously this is just a demo, and your options are very limited in this game as well. I will pause at least 100 more times. So the gameplay demo opens up with her on the gurney, upside down, as you'll see in a second. Obviously, it's got she's got the camera angle incorrectly technically, but she's obviously bandaged up under there. She's got something injected into her. My immediate thought here is similar to Resident Evil 3 and where Jill gets infected, Resident Evil 2 where Sherry gets infected. This is somebody intentionally infecting her with something to experiment on her. This is a common thing that happens in Resident Evil. People get experimented on to test out new biohazards, that sort of thing. Going back to the theory that Wesker's in the game, Wesker loves doing that. In every single game he's appeared on, or even just mentioned in, he is mentioned or shown infecting people to test out bioweapons, especially in Resident Evil 5. He infects Irvin, Excella, bunch of people with Ouroboros to see if they're worthy of Ouroboros. This is kind of a similar vein, maybe. So it is kind of a point to Wesker's back sort of thing. But, I mean, it's not an uncommon thing to happen. He's not the only one who's ever experimented with, viruses to test. I mean, Birkin did it on himself, for goodness sake. So it's not an uncommon thing to happen in the franchise, but, I mean, he really did like experimenting people, and then when the, virus either rejected them or they fully turned, he called them weak, that sort of thing. And they've clearly tied her up, so like, if she turns, she isn't an issue. So that's my thought behind it. The only thing I'm wondering is, she's got this bandage underneath her shirt. I'm wondering if she got injured before, obviously getting tied up and injected, or if that's afterwards. It's very hard to say. Obviously we saw this in the reveal trailer as well. She's clearly in the hotel still though. So this is what I'm assuming, that she's returned to the hotel after being told by the FBI director, we want you to research into that hotel, see what's going on there, that sort of thing. So she's returned, maybe walked through the door, immediately got knocked out, sitting and then attached to the gurney. Or if we go with the theory, that she was injured beforehand, maybe she had to struggle to get into the hotel. Maybe there's zombies are outside the hotel. That wouldn't be surprising. Similar to RPD, there's a bunch of zombies outside and you get in, you could already be bloody in danger by the time you get into RPD. Could be the same thing here, just story wise, obviously. So this is just basically her trying to work out how to escape, free herself, that sort of thing. So this will probably be, after you've done the tutorial, get the cutscene, that sort of thing. Not too much to say here. I'm assuming that's blood. I don't want to assume that's something else. I feel like if I start assuming that's something else, I'll just be overthinking. Good job. Once you got one hand free, it should be easy to free yourself. She's got some great core strength though, because obviously it's attached by the legs, but she needs to reach up and grab the legs. I don't think I could do that. Even with that, to be honest. Holding on to something? Nah, I got no core strength for that. I know she's... Oh. This is the one part of the demo I didn't see from the other videos, so I guess you do that too. I feel like that was an easy chance to break your leg though. Yeah, I would have a headache there. Okay. Good thing I used this source, because the other videos I watched didn't have this part. So that does limit options. But we gotta assume it's the same guy from the fucking hotel that killed the guy. Right? Right? It's another credit for Wesker, I'm gonna be honest. So clearly she didn't get hit in the back then, right? There's no way she got hit in the back and, tied up, because she knows who did this to her, right? Or at least that's a theory. Progression notes, 2003 began blood extraction. So they've extracted blood from her, and then administer something called Dexterfil. Don't know what that means. We don't even know what time it is, but we assume it's, you know, obviously past, 18 minutes past 10. Sorry, is that 10? Yeah, that's 10. Also, you could turn this light on and off. Don't know why. You can obviously check things. That's a lot of blood, and assumably your blood. You know what? I just realised I didn't even mention Resident Evil 4. As like, getting infected sort of thing. But that's another example of the main character getting infected. I thought this person said they were playing in first person. Did they change it to third person? Yeah, so this is the hallway we saw in the reveal trailer as well. I imagine there'll be a lot of exploring this hotel. Probably having to come back here later as well, if they do decide to stay in this area quite frequently. The real question is, how long are we going to stay here, right? Because my perception is this is a hotel that isn't in Requiem City. It might be. But who knows? It's hard to tell where we are. You need a fuse box to open the gate. She's going to try, and it's not going to work. Just like you'll be if you don't get out of there. I can't tell what the voices are. We got the keys. We have some keys. It's very Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 vibes in this. Especially with the, item system that you're seeing a little bit. This person doesn't know where the cherub room is. There it is. Yeah, but no, hold on. If we go back a second now. Why is it when I go back I need to reload again? There we go. So yeah, we got the item inventory here. This is very similar to Resident Evil 2 item system, where you start with 8 slots and then you can expand it. Well, I assume you can expand it just because there's a lot of space here. If we fill the whole space, it looks like you can get 3 more lines, which is, 4, 8, 12 more slots as well. But yeah, no, it's just going back to that sort of Resident Evil 2 system. Can't complain about that. I like that system. Inventory management will be a pain. I'm never good at inventory management. I'm always going back to safe rooms, that sort of thing. There's the crouching. There's some handgun ammo. See, it looks like the one from Resident Evil 2 as well. So she might actually be in Raccoon City. But this place looks way too well kept to be Resident Evil 2. It's obviously not perfect. There's, wallpaper falling off, that sort of thing. But empty... Wait, hold on. Empty tin? I didn't see this. What the fuck? Okay. I'm guessing you can fill that in at some point. There's a fuse. It looks like you could throw away stuff you don't need anymore. A lighter. Light seems very important in this game. Why didn't they take the fuse bolt? I didn't see why they couldn't take it. I really know what I'm talking about here, don't I? Prep room. I'm gonna turn the light on. No light. No light available in that room. Nope. See, the thing is, that's why I think they intentionally want to make you play first person mode, because that switch there, Jesus. So I can go to third person, you're going to be forced to first person occasion. Probably to make the scares much more better.
He's dead.
He's clearly dead. Why are you checking his pulse? Yeah, but the fact that she's...
Infected.
Hey there. Alright, this is the thing that most people are focusing on. Right here. Lots of theories on who the hell this could be, whether it's a new character, old character, that sort of thing. This is definitely, to start with, one of those stalker enemies, so Mr. X. Nemesis to some degree. Obviously, Nemesis wasn't that great of a stalker enemy in Resident Evil 3, but sort of the same vein. You know, a stalker enemy that follows you throughout the match. You know, you know, to scare you, keep you away from certain areas, or make it hard to get to certain areas, that sort of thing. But obviously, the main mystery here being, who the bloody hell is this? I've seen a lot of theories say, you know, some people saying this is Alyssa, mutated, experimented on, which can make a lot of sense because obviously there's the case of in Resident Evil 2, go back to that again, you know, Birkin injected himself with the G virus, and the one thing they mentioned specifically in that one is the host kind of seeks out their blood relations, to use as, in that one specifically, to use as sort of a way to make, you know, continue, I don't want to call it bloodline, like make more of themselves. That makes sense. I can't remember the exact wording. It's escaping my mind right now. But it could be the same case here. You know, this is Alyssa mutated, sort of having that call in to her daughter, you know, sensing her daughter and wanted to seek her out, even in her mutated form. Could be in a protective way, but, you know, in this way seems to be more of a murderous way. But, you know, it could be that like sort of a misaligned protection sort of thing. Another theory is, I kind of want to get a better look, but a lot of people kind of mentioned, I'm hoping we can see here a little bit, that the face is kind of two merged together. I don't think merged is the right way, but yeah, if you see here, there's like a little scar, there's a scar going on here where this this left eye is, you know, seems to be from a different face and sort of stitched on. There is a character in the Resident Evil 1 remake called Lisa Trevor, who kind of had a similar thing where she took her victims' faces and stitched them onto herself. The thing that's making me hesitant towards this one is Lisa's face was still underneath a mask. Like it was a mask of her victims' faces. Where this seems to be a face made up of multiple faces. So that theory kind of falls apart. It could obviously be a case of mutation, where those faces have kind of kind of melted into her face and sort of become her face. The chains would also make sense because obviously we can see a chain here and you can hear it. She's kind of chained up, which makes sense because Lisa was as well. And to be fair, Lisa does fall to her death in Resident Evil 1, and plenty of times we've seen that in Resident Evil where a character will fall to their death and miraculously come back alive. You know, we saw that with Ada Wong in Resident Evil 2, right? Characters don't stay dead in Resident Evil very frequently, so it could very easily be Lisa. I wouldn't complain about it. I wouldn't say no to it, to be honest. But no, let's keep watching. And obviously, you get a chase sequence here. Yeah, that'll be my reaction too. She runs back here, and then we kind of get the. We'll give it a second. Kind of get the mechanic of protection here. So, one complaint that is mentioned quite a few times in Resident Evil 2 is the fact that Mr. X just won't go into safe room for no apparent reason. What it appears to be here is that rooms that are filled with light, you know, you got a light on, that sort of thing. I don't think a lamp would be enough, so maybe that's the lamp mechanic we were talking about, I mentioned earlier. You know, that can light up a room and maybe, you know, get rid of the, I don't know what to call this. I want to call it Granny, to be honest, because she kind of looks like a granny. That you kind of keep her out of the room by keep having a light on in that room. So obviously that makes a lot more sense for why a room would be safe. So you have any safe rooms, the lights are on and you're safe from her. So that's kind of a good thing to have, like a reason why she won't go into certain rooms or try and avoid certain areas, stay away from the light, that sort of thing. And this would make sense. That does not English. It would make sense for this to be Lisa then, because obviously if she fell down into that hole, it was even one that was already in the basement. She would have an aversion to light, sort of thing. She'd be in like a dark cave. She would have adapted to that cave, and then the lightness would probably hurt her eyes at the very least. Oh, sorry, I had to pause for a second there. You won't tell because it's paused the recording. But yeah, talk about the light, obviously. Kind of works instead of just like, oh, I'm not going that route. Why? I don't know. Very ballsy to immediately get going again. You can't really do that with Mr. X scenario 2. He just turns around and comes back for you straight away.
What the hell was that thing?
Potentially your mother. But find the light again, which isn't gonna suddenly change. Spoiler alert, Grace, I'm sorry. And there's something down there.
Oh my.
So you got these, which is a med injector. Ooh, how dare you skip off that so quickly. Which is a device used in it just restores your health fully. So this is the version of a med spray, basically. Which probably makes more sense, you know, an injector. But you know what, realism isn't really gonna matter. Because in a second, it's in a little bit. It's just a green herb, so we're back to the herbs. I ain't complaining. I love the herb system, especially if they got the red and blue herbs. Also, there's a lot of I did notice a lot of these where there's just empty cabinets, empty cupboards, empty lockers, that sort of thing, which I find hilarious. I imagine that's gonna piss off a lot of people, probably me. She is terrible at not making noise.
Not this way, not this way, not this way.
I guess you need it. It makes sense though that she's, you know, inexperienced. Grandma outside just screaming. You've got this system again. We have to, you know, rotate and examine stuff. Is this person not going to get the green herb? I think this person's going to miss out on the green herb because they did. I'm pretty sure it was in that locker back there. But no, back in that one, I saw in a different demo. There is a green herb, so thankfully it does make a return. So yeah, no, you got all that you know, throat callbacks, I guess. Because obviously Resident Evil 7 and 8 didn't really use the herbs or anything, but the remakes kept them, so obviously they're not like against keeping them. One thing I will mention though that I noticed there is that she kind of realized that she was back in a room where there was a lot of light on, and instead of walking in taking that sort of, I guess, damage, or you know, realizing it's like that, she immediately just left. So it's kind of remembered what rooms are unsafe and immediately, you know, gone, no, fuck that, thank you very much, instead of walking back in and, you know, hurting herself again, right? Whether that's intentional or not there, I don't know, but it's pretty cool if you ask me. I imagine that happens no matter what you do. There's probably going to be a few of those, you know, similar to Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, Nemesis Resident Evil 3, going back to those. There's a lot of cases where there's scripted events, you know, where they'll appear in certain areas no matter where they actually were on the map, they'll just get teleported over there. So I imagine there'll be a few of those. Very common thing to happen in Resident Evil. There's a few, also to mention a more recent one, Resident Evil 7 with Jack Baker, right? I wonder if you could just hide in the room. This person seems very eager to just go back to the safe room without even worrying. Turning on the light could work as well, but yeah. The fact that you can't even see them with the light off is horrifying. Like, you just see a dark corridor and you can hear the noise but can't actually see them. I wonder if you could just hide in that little cubby over there. Oh, dude, I can believe in you. I think they're very eager to run off to that safe. They're just teetering around it, ready to run off to it in case they need to. They're actually running this way for some reason. Interesting. I wonder if they'll finally discovered the green herb. Oh no, they've just gone through that way. You know what? That makes sense. I didn't realize that room went around that way, but no, they didn't find the green herb. Are they going to finally collect the fuse box? Because they haven't really got anything there. Like, was it actually... Ooh. Did I miss the oh wait, because screwdriver, right. Yeah, you know what? They're smarter than me. They're smarter than me. Then again, I'm not the one playing. I feel like I would have noticed sooner if I was playing. I forgot about that. Yeah, but that's going to turn all the lights off, so... And obviously, cutscene. So yeah, the granny, as I'm calling her, seems to be travels through these holes in the roof. Oop. Also, it's thundering outside. Oh, just fell over, missed it. I haven't seen that one before. But yeah, this is basically the end where, you know, gets through this. Why is it paused? Hello? What else going on now? Try that again, shall we? But yeah, this kind of gives me the Resident Evil 2 start, and this gives an obvious show off that she's damaged by the light. Still grabs her though. Also very much burning up, so it's not just eye damage; it is actually burning her skin. And this gets dragged off. Her back is going to kill after that. And that's it. That's the demo. It says this is merely the overture of the Arcus Symphony. Which sounds like something Wesker would say. Imagine that in a Wesker voice. It makes sense. I might just be copium because Wesker's one of my favorite characters of Resident Evil, let alone gaming of all time. But yeah, I've seen a lot of theories at the end part where somebody will come save her. Maybe, you know, Leon, Claire, Jill, plenty of old characters, maybe a new character, who knows. The main question is obviously who is this? You know, who is this? Just a new character? You know, new monster, obviously. Mr. X sort of deal going on. Or obviously, is this a return of a, you know, is this her mother? Is this Lisa? I'm not really in the sort of camp of people saying, hey, this is definitely Lisa Trevor, you know, that sort of thing. I think this is more likely to be a mutated version of her mother, which would explain, you know, sort of why she's so eager to you know, go after Grace, that sort of thing. Seen it in like a protective way, maybe. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody, you know, obviously with the chain around her, locked her up, experimented on her further, that sort of thing. Because, you know, we didn't actually technically see her die. I mean, obviously the assumption is she died, but we've seen a lot of cases of characters in Resident Evil dying and then coming back after being, you know, experimented on, you know, turned into a prisoner, that sort of thing, you know. Main one that comes to mind, Resident Evil 5, Wesker turning Jill into sort of a, you know, combat slave for him, with that device on her chest. You know what? Now think about it. I never thought about this before, but Resident Evil 5, why didn't you just use Ouroboros on her? I mean, the main reason, obviously, we know Wesker loves to gloat, so he probably wanted to use Jill against Chris to be like, oh, look what happened, this is all your fault, that sort of thing. Wesker could have very much easily taken over the world if he wasn't egotistical, which could be the same business here. Like, assuming Wesker's back, could be a sort of another egotistical trip, or he could have learnt his lesson. Maybe he's more cold-hearted, maybe he's more ready to, you know, kill where needed. But I mean, if he took Alyssa's mother, assuming, obviously Wesker, if he took Grace's mother and turned her into a monster and then waited for a return, I doubt it. I doubt it very much. Anything else I miss? Not really. I mean, the gameplay looks pretty much standard Resident Evil 2. Obviously, you know, Resident Evil 2 vibes, like I said. I'm curious to why the ink ribbon is empty. I don't know if this is because it's the demo, so they don't want people saving. Maybe like the save system doesn't actually work yet. I imagine this is built upon previous Resident Evil stuff, so I would be surprised if it didn't work, but maybe just don't want people saving, that sort of thing. So it's just empty, and then it'll be, you know, actually filled in a complete real game. I mean, the hotel looks cool. It's obviously an entirely new building from what I can tell. Obviously the main destruction in Resident Evil was, in Raccoon City was, you know, the bomb, which wasn't actually a nuclear bomb. It was like some sort of I mentioned this last time, but sort of hydro bomb or something. I can't remember the proper name. I will say graphics look great, you know, the hair glowing up with the light, that sort of thing. At the start, you know, her facial expressions, that sort of thing, the detail. Very good. I wonder if they'll upgrade the engine eventually. I hope my PC can run it. I am looking at PC upgrade parts right now, so By the time February comes around, hopefully I'll have a good enough system. Even if it does struggle, like I can run a Resident Evil 4 remake, which is the latest game, at 60 FPS pretty easily. So I've never wanted really want things above 60 FPS. I know a lot of people are like, I need 120 FPS 4K now. And I'm just like 60 FPS 1080p. I'm fine with that. But no, it looks really good. Green herbs, which this person never got. Maybe I should have watched this person's game trailer. But there is green herbs. You can probably Google and find it. But yeah, I don't think there's too much to mention. I was talking about how Raccoon City destroyed the thing, and this hotel looks a bit too clean. Especially as we're assuming she's gone back to where Alyssa was, and I really doubt the first part back here took part in. I don't think this would have taken place in Raccoon City. It feels too unlikely, especially as there's another hotel. There's obviously the hotel owner who would own a hotel in in Raccoon City after the bomb, right? I don't think there's too much more to say. Obviously, ton more questions. Who the hell was after Alyssa? And we have to assume they're after Grace as well. Who the hell is the monster? Who the hell is the guy? What the hell does FBI want to investigate here? If it's just zombies and stuff, that doesn't really feel like their expertise unless it's been kind of sort of pit off to them, because obviously we still kind of need an explanation of what the hell went on with the BSAA, because we know that Chris left the BSAA to join Blue Umbrella in Resident Evil Village, which kind of makes you go, what's going on with the BSAA? Are they suddenly a terrorist organization? Are they suddenly, biohazards, that sort of thing? Was it just an internal struggle? And the BSAA, as far as I'm aware, was also, part of the US government, which is also the FBI, so where they kind of merged together. Questions going on there. I don't know if they ever really thought that through or just wanted that as, I'll say, sort of a plot twist, like Chris is working for Umbrella, but it's an entirely different Umbrella, that sort of thing. Who knows? But I reckon there's like 100% chance that an old character appears similar to Chris in 7 and 8 to sort of tie into the old games a little bit better, because that's kind of what Chris did for 7. Even though they kind of were intended for a reboot, which is why Chris looks so different in 7. We don't mention that, but yeah. I mean, like I said, the main question is obviously to me, who the hell is this person? Could be Wesker, could be somebody else. It's definitely not Ethan. I think if you're a person who's thinking this is Ethan, I think you need to get your eyes checked, and more importantly, check your lore, because I mean, we've got the Shadow of Rose DLC, which basically kind of has like, I don't know what to call it. It's a very weird thing where Rose goes into sort of a dream state to try and get rid of her powers, and then a hallucination of Ethan, or some form of Ethan, kind of helps her out and convinces her to keep her powers, and then obviously he dies at the end of 8 originally, so his mind lives on. I don't know. It's very confusing on how that actually worked. I never fully understood it, but I think this is very unlikely Ethan. If it is technically Ethan, I think it's somebody else controlling his body. But I mean, from the images we've seen of Ethan, even though bloody Capcom don't want to show off his face, we know what he looks like. At least what his model looks like. Whether that's an intentional look of him, we don't know. But I'm glad they're not doing that thing again, where they're being like, oh, we're not going to show you what the character actually looks like on the face. Like, just show us Ethan's face at this point. I don't know why they're being so hesitant about it. Or why they were so hesitant about it. I don't think they're ever going to really worry about Ethan again. But yeah, my main question is obviously who this person is. But there's a lot of questions, a lot of theories can go into it. Could be the, now mentioning BSAA. God, that's so hard to say fast. If they have gone to terrorist organization route, they could be the people after Alyssa. Maybe they become protective of Umbrella secrets that still haven't made it out, because assuming there's still more Umbrella secrets. Who knows? Lots of questions. I'm sure we can come up with a bunch of theories if we sit here for like 6 hours. But no, I'm really excited for this, as you can tell, because I come out of the woodwork, make a video about this every time they mention more about Resident Evil. I think the last thing I want to mention is that if they do bring back an old character, or multiple old characters, I think one of them's going to die. I think if they do bring back old characters, they're gonna kill one off, and I think it would be Leon. I think they've done the most they can with Leon. Jill, they've done a decent amount with Jill with Revelations 5, that sort of thing. I feel like they could kill off any of them. Then again, Leon's kind of a fan favorite. Maybe they'd kill Jill. I just think they're gonna kill somebody if they're bringing back old characters. That's all I'm saying. Like, personally, what I would like to see is, and what I would like to see at the end of Resident Evil 6, would it be nice to see Leon and Ada just retiring. Because, I mean, they're both in their 50s at this point, you know? Because it's been 30 years. Leon was like 23 in RE2, so he'd be 53. Ada, I think, is older by a couple of years. She'd be like 55. She was supposed to be in Village as well. I keep forgetting that, but she was supposed to be in Village, and they kind of backtracked on that, but they had a character design for her, so I wouldn't be surprised if they bring her out here. Yeah, I think Leon and Ada showing up are pretty much guaranteed. I have rambled on for way too long. It's almost been an hour. And I don't know if I've even said anything substantial. But I just like really to like talking about Resident Evil. Like I've gone on so many tangents. I like started talking about Resident Evil 2, that sort of thing. But no, this game's gonna be great. I'm sure we'll see more. I think maybe we'll see more at Game Awards in December. I wouldn't be surprised if we do another trailer then, and then we've only got a couple after that. We've only got like a couple months until the game comes out, and that'll be after Silent Hill F as well. I'm looking forward to Silent Hill F as well. I just don't have as many theories on that because Silent Hill lore confuses me. It's a lot harder to talk about Silent Hill because it's just way more confusing. I can at least understand Resident Evil lore for the most part. I get my viruses and corporations mixed up for the most sometimes, but for the most part, I understand what's going on. I like to think anyway, you never know. For now. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to mention. Just kind of scanning over everything again. Yeah, a lot of this is just bringing up questions. I mean, the gameplay looks good. The story looks like it could be interesting. Obviously, without seeing, the main meat of the story, which we won't see until the game comes out, it's hard to say. Yeah, if you're looking to do research for this game, main game to play is Outbreak. I'm going to be playing that like next month to re-familiarize myself with Alyssa's story. I know it's not just Alyssa in Outbreak, but that's my main goal. I am actually playing through all of the mainline canon games for Resident Evil. We started a couple months ago with Resident Evil 0. We recently just finished up Resident Evil 2. I'm actually going to be playing Resident Evil 3 this week with the video coming out. I'm going to hopefully... Well, I'm recording this on Saturday night. I'm hoping to have this up by tomorrow, as long as it doesn't take ages to upload, because my internet is shit. So the plan is to play Resident Evil 3. And yeah, so if you don't want to play the games yourself and just want to watch an idiot play them, I'll leave a link to my VOD channel below and my Twitch channel if you want to see it live as well. You can obviously subscribe, like, and all that nonsense if you wish to. Always appreciate it. You guys seem to like me when I ramble on, because when I rambled on about Silent Hill 2, you guys seem to like that. Same with the first initial trailer for Resident Evil Requiem. But yeah, no, this is just me rambling. I'm going to call this over-analyzing at this point, because I don't even know what I'm calling this video. Whatever the name is, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Resident Evil, I guess, because I only come up the woodwork for this. I keep telling myself I'm going to do different videos, but I never do. I do want to talk more about Resident Evil. I want to talk about the Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut, specifically, and then the remake of Resident Evil 1, and kind of like talk about those two games in a vacuum, and kind of why I prefer the Director's Cut over the remake, which is apparently is a very controversial take. I know the remake does a lot better, but you know what? I'm going to stop myself before I ramble on longer. I appreciate it, guys. See you in the next one. Take care.